everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. I know mine was fun. My mom was in town visiting, and so we got to go out and chat. It's always great going out with her. We do our best to not talk about or have politics come up at all because she is uh, I would say, progressive in the lightest sense of the word, but I would say moderate in a lot of things. And then there's myself, which I tend to lean right on most issues. But nonetheless, it was a good time, and it's always great seeing family no matter what. Um, there's not a whole lot of news going on today, or even over the weekend for that matter. I mean, we had a celebrity pass away from an apparent drug overdose. Um, we have, I think, Iran or Oman talking to Iran and trying to backdoor some conversations, and it's making the U.S. angry. Whatever. We'll see what happens there. Um, there was the I don't know whether Trump was asked it. Most of the time, it's people asking these questions and then he just answers. It's not usually stuff that he gives willingly. But about the U.S. taking the Strait of Hormuz, making it a territory of the U.S., who knows? Weirder things have happened. Um, there was Russia and looks like Russia and North Korea are working together. Again, not a whole lot of actual news going on. I was looking at um, what the news what the news was covering before I came in to do this video. CNN was covering a segment with a titled high school journalists, more than one, take on the Epstein files." Like, what? That is student on talking about that. Um, Not important at all. And then you have, that was CNN. Then you have on MS Now, Trump and family face slew of corruption allegations. Sure. I guess, since it's not a Democrat that's in power, it's always Trump bad on MS Now. Yet every one of these people has to openly admit that they haven't actually broken any laws. But I just find the whole conversation ridiculous because we just sat through the Biden administration where Hunter Biden's board seat on Burisma was a big question, and Joe Biden's covering of Ukraine during the Obama presidency when Joe Biden was vice president, and getting the prosecutor there fired for investigating Burisma. Yeah, you want to talk about corruption and all this other stuff? Sure, but make sure you do it evenly. When you turn a blind eye to actual corruption, I don't have any time for all this. Oh my God, what are the Trump family members doing? Like, I just I don't care. Um, but interestingly enough, like, and Fox News not covering anything of importance at all. But there were two things I thought were interesting over the weekend. I was actually watching the show Tires on Netflix with my mom, and so we burned through, like, I think 3 episodes. She was laughing her butt off. But last night after she left, my girlfriend and I watched 2 more episodes, and there was one episode where it's the next day after Shane Gillis's character, Shane on Tires, hooks up with this chick, has like a one night stand. And then they're talking about whether or not they're going to see each other again. And he like looks around the room, and there's like, she clearly goes to left wing protests, and there was like a pro choice banner and whatever in there, and he's like, yeah, I don't think this is gonna work out. But then they get in this whole conversation about him wanting to date somebody who has kids, and her not wanting to have kids. At any rate, so there's that dynamic. The other is that Shane's character, Shane, has been dying to get together with this other chick who has kids, and who he went to high school with and is known for a very long time, but hasn't seen in a while. And so he has on one hand this chick who's like a progressive, like, out in protest, like liberal, and then he's got this other girl who he's been pining after, who comes across a little crazy when she just randomly shows up at his place of work. Um, and I can already see where this is going, which is going to be that Shane has got to make the decision between the girl that he's been pining for a long time, or the liberal activist. And he's going to end up with the liberal activist to show everybody that, yes, you can date people when you have differences in political opinions. This show is not doing it in a very good way. They could make the other character, the girl he's been after, like not crazy, and make it up to him as to whether or not he as an individual wants to be with somebody who has kids and wants that lifestyle, or wants the single lifestyle of never having kids. And I think that is a better angle. What's happening, and it's clear that's going to happen, is that he's going to choose. He's going to go on a date. He's going to hang out with this other woman, and he's going to go back to the crazy liberal chick who goes out and protests. I can already see it. I'm hoping that it continues to be funny throughout the process, and I know some other things, some other side kind of plots are going on, but that particular one is the linchpin of this entire season. Just like the previous season, he was in love with this catering chick and kind of just toasted that relationship. But nonetheless, if you haven't seen Tires, it is actually a really funny show. Um, Shane Gillis, regardless of his ambiguity in politics and his bad positions on things, is a very funny individual. And so, like, yeah, I was just laughing the entire time. But this particular plot, I was like, come on, man, like, you guys could actually write this a little better. Um, the other things that I kind of just happened to see more so over the last couple of days is SpaceX. SpaceX stock continues to slightly go up. It was up 4% today. It's been over its initial offering price for the last few days. It's sitting at 145. But I think the one I think is more interesting is Rumble. And so if you're watching this, you probably only see me, most of my content on X, but I also have a Rumble account and I have a YouTube account. Um, and I will say I've just been following Rumble over the last few years. And I think what they're doing is it's needed in the space, because I think there needs to be an alternative to YouTube. As much as YouTube has much broader reach, um, it's clear that government interference tends to be heavier in the bigger platforms. And Rumble is one of those platforms that will do its best to not cater to censorship from the U.S. government. That's not to say they don't do it for foreign governments, because if you're working with foreign countries, they have specific regulations about how they control speech. But more specific to the U.S., Rumble has said that they will not do it. But at any rate, Rumble is also diversifying kind of their company in general, and moving in an AI direction and doing a couple other things. And so the stock actually like took off, and I have quite a few shares in Rumble. And interestingly enough, Rumble for me has now turned positive. I was buying down, or averaging down, over the last few months, and they seem to be doing pretty well. I will say, like most kind of startup companies, um, they're not producing a ton of positive cash flow. But they are doing the right things to get there. At least that's what it sounds like on their earnings call, and that's what it looks like in their quarterly financials. But we'll see. I find, Rumble is just an interesting kind of side play because, again, just like, there's Amazon online, there's also Walmart, and they play in the same kind of space. But obviously, Amazon is the big behemoth, and Walmart is far behind. But there's enough market share out there to have a very profitable business, and the same thing goes for this kind of media landscape where you do have a lot of social platforms vying for attention. Um, but you also have platforms that are, I would say, catering to an audience. YouTube, I would say, has algorithms that favor left wing, even though right wing individuals do very well on YouTube, just from organic growth. But if you go to any of the front pages, you see a lot of left wing content. You get pushed left wing content. Like, I constantly get pushed the Young Turks. If I just have news up, if I run a segment from, like, say, The Hill Rising, you can guarantee within 2 segments, if I just let it autoplay after that, it'll play probably the next open segment or the next published segment from The Hill Rising. And then it'll do like a TYT, or it'll do a breaking points, or it'll do, some other more left leaning outlet. It's just interesting that it pushes that to you. And that's, I do watch a lot of other content, but I don't watch that content generally, especially the Young Turks. I don't even really watch their clips either. I don't find what they have to say very important. And they're basically, like, to me, like the Alex Jones of the left, going deep into the rabbit hole on certain things. And it's just, like, not interesting at all. At any rate, not going to tell you to invest in stocks, do your own research and whatever. But I will say Rumble is an interesting play if you're looking, within that vertical, within that space. And the moves that Rumble is making are very interesting to me. And the market seems to be rewarding it accordingly. They've been up substantially since their earnings call. The same thing for SpaceX. They've been up since their earnings call. Even with all of this additional float coming online, there's still more buyers than there are sellers. But at any rate, I hope everybody has a great Monday and a great start to your week. It's about to storm like crazy here. But let me know what you think in the comments section below. And as always, keep believing that the best is still ahead for America. Peace out.